Good evening. This is the town of, you got a, town of Chatham Planning Board hybrid meeting for November 10. You'd think after 5 years, November 10, 2025. It is 5 p.m. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly thereafter for schedule and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify the chair. My name is Charlene Greenhalgh, and I am the vice chair. Our chairman, Art Sprue, is, I believe, on remotely, but he did ask me to chair this meeting this evening. Pursuant to Governor Healy's, March 28, 2025 signing of Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, until June 30, 2027. This meeting of the Chatham Planning Board is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 508-945-4410, conference ID number 295-428-779#, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. Well, this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Chatham TV, Xfinity Channel 1072. Despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. I'm going to begin by doing a roll call vote. Warren?
Warren Chain, present.
Bob?
Bob Wirtschafter, present.
Frank?
Frank Sherritt, present.
Bob?
Bob Dubus, present.
Art Sprue?
Art Sprue, present.
This is Catherine Halpern, Charlene. I'm also present.
Okay, we're waiting on Art, but thank you, Catherine.
Art Sprue, I'm present.
All
you
right,
hear me?
and yeah, we can hear you, and I'm Charlene Greenhalgh. I'm also present. Let's begin with the minutes. First, we have September 29, 2025. I do have one minor correction that I found on page 2, under release of covenant request, the third line down. It says typically 1.5%. It should either read 150% or 1.5 times the estimate, whichever language works better. Did anyone else have anything?
I think 150% works better.
I think 150% does work better. Is there anything else that anybody found? Can I have a motion to approve as amended?
I'll move to approve the minutes as amended.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Again, we'll do a roll call vote. Catherine Halpern?
I believe I have to abstain. I was not present.
Okay.
Catherine, and Bob Dubus have to abstain.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, technically, we have to ask them anyway, though.
Right.
So Art Sprue?
Art Sprue, I have to abstain too.
Okay. Bob Dubus?
Bob Dubus has to abstain, too.
Okay. Frank?
I approve.
Bob?
I approve.
Warren?
Approve.
And I vote to approve. And moving on to the meeting minutes of October 27, 2025. I will be abstaining. Is there any corrections or additional information
I didn't.
that anyone saw?
Catherine will also be abstaining.
Yes. Yep. If I could hear a motion on this?
As Warren Chain, I move to accept the minutes as drafted.
Second.
Roll call vote. Bob Dubus?
Bob Dubus, approve.
Frank?
Approve.
Bob?
Approve.
Warren?
Approve.
Charlene abstains. Catherine Halpern? abstains.
Yes, I also abstain.
Okay. And Art Spru.
Art Spru, I approve.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, I'm going to take an item out of order because I think it will be relatively quick. It's the certificate of compliance and release of statement of conditions for 81 Depot. And I do believe David Clark is here for this.
David Clark, Clark Engineering, on behalf of the Genotes. If you've been out there, you'll see the project is done. We prepared an as-built plan showing the site improvements, including the trench drain and the leach pit for stormwater controls. I think they did a nice job on the project. Driveway looks great. Of course, the building looks pretty good, too. So we're here for a certificate of compliance.
Does anyone on the board have any questions or comments?
Nope.
Just want, David, thanks for being so speedy on this and doing a good job on the as-built. It's much appreciated.
Thank you, welcome.
If I could entertain, Art and Catherine, I'm guessing you don't have any questions or comments?
No comments from Art.
Okay.
No questions or comments from Catherine.
Thank you both. If I could entertain a motion to release Stephen and Jody Lynn Genote from the statement of conditions imposed by the planning board for the property at 81 Depot Street and issue a certificate of compliance.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
And roll call vote. Bob Dubus?
I approve.
Frank?
Approve.
Bob?
Approve.
Warren?
Approve.
Catherine?
Yes, I approve.
And Art?
I approve.
And I also approve.
Thank you very much. Have a
You're
good
very welcome. Thanks, David. Okay, we're going to move on now to the definitive subdivision for 104 Kroll Road. Mr. Eldridge, this was continued from September 8th, September 29th, and October 27th, and I know Mr. Dubus has to recuse himself on this matter. Looks like we have Terry and Bill.
Good evening, Bill Riley.
Good evening, Terry Eldridge. And September 8th, the planning board did review a proposed three-lot subdivision with a panhandle. And the board requested a profile of the proposed panhandle driveway be shown on the topographical plan with conceptual development sketch overlay, and a legend be added, which was done. There's 4 plans in front of you, I believe. The first plan is the original plan. It was submitted back in, for the September 8th meeting. The second plan, which is entitled The First Revision, 01, and this shows the original plan with the profile and legend that you requested. The third plan is entitled Alternative Plan A, and it shows the 3 lots with access from Kroll Road. 3 separate driveways to enter each one driveway to each lot. There is also a document that I had given to you in that package, which was the requirement for 50-foot separation between driveways, and then that the 50-foot separation was measured from the center line of each driveway. So with that being said, I have a list on here in the upper left-hand corner It gives us separations of 73, 58, 57, and 85 feet between driveways in this configuration. This includes the driveways to the north to the Chatham Drama Guild and the driveway to the south for the dentist's office. So then the next plan you should have before you is alternative plan B, and that's showing one lot accessing, access is coming from Kroll Road, and the other two lots would be from the Panhandle. Obviously, the Panhandle lot is entitled to it, but there would be a second lot that would access it,
Yeah, one less driveway.
one less driveway. And then there is another plan that I sent, and that is the original, they call it lotting plan here, definitive subdivision plan, and there were 3 items that you addressed at that meeting, and I can't remember what they were. Okay. At any rate, it was the locust map, you want it darker, which has been done. There was a note on the plan that pertained to the planning board's responsibility that's been removed, and there's been additional lines added to the signature block that was requested. At this point, I guess, if there are any questions?
Do any of the board member, oh, actually, let's go to staff first. Is there anything you would like to add on this, Christine?
The first thing that you have is the definitive subdivision. So the definitive subdivision plan does meet the requirements for a definitive subdivision. And then what our recommendation is that you then go through the options and decide what option meets the requirements that you want to have. They will ultimately go before the ZBA because this is a residential use and a commercial thing. I did leave something for you today. We got an update from the DPW director, so that was part of the paperwork in front of you. If you refer to the bottom of that page, it'll tell you exactly what he was proposing. Whatever option you end up choosing, if you choose one, he has requested that the site triangle be added to the plan prior to any approval. Charlene and Art and myself did go through statements of conditions today, the tentative draft of what I have out, what I had sent out to you in the package. That has changed a little bit, so Charlene will go over that if you decide to move forward. The DPW director had also said he would be agreeable to a single driveway in this case if you wanted to do that. But you could potentially be setting a precedence. We don't typically see 3 lots on one, so those are some of the options that you could be looking at. And then the other thing that I would say to you is I would make sure as part of your conditions that you make sure that Lot 6, which was done by a previous A&R, is actually merged with Lot 25 prior to moving forward, because it appears as
In several cases.
former Lot 6 on one thing, and then it appears on one of the options as still being under the ownership of the guild. So just to confirm that that actually has been done, because I don't have any recording information for that. But again, Charlene will address that in the conditions as she moves forward.
Is it possible for us to get a copy of the correspondence from the DPW director and the draft statement of conditions?
And to address the DPW director's comments, I did furnish a site triangle on an earlier plan, and it ended up being, I think it was under 3 on one side and less than 4 on the other side. In other words, the triangle comes back to the street. It was less than 4 on this side and less than 3 on that side, and then it went down, fanned down to nothing. And what I had suggested to Kathleen was rather than having the site triangles, why don't we just have a statement of conditions that says that no plantings will be placed within 9 feet of the pavement. It's 5 feet from the pavement to the sideline of the road. So that way, you've got a site triangle. You don't have a site triangle, you have a site corridor the entire length of the property. And it makes a lot of sense to do it that way because nothing's worse than to have plantings in the town layout where you still can't see by, and I don't know. It just means that any plantings are now going to be 10 feet away from the pavement versus with the triangles, it's going to be 3 and 4 feet at one point down to 0, less than 100 feet away, and somebody's going to end up planting vegetation within the town layout. They do it all the time. So this way, at least you have a document that says they're not going to be within 10 feet of the pavement with plantings.
And if I could make a comment, years ago, when there were a lot more of these developments using panhandle driveways, it was a standard condition of the then planning board that all the lots had to access from the panhandle to reduce the number of openings onto the street. But that was a long time ago.
Do you know why they went away from that? Because that makes sense to me.
Oh, I don't.
They didn't.
Yeah, well, I see, what happened was, that's the way it was. And there was a lot of development going on, and there were a lot of subdivisions proposed using panhandle drives. And and as the land got used up, there were fewer subdivisions, fewer panhandles, and it just, membership on the board changed, so. Ancient history, but of course Charlene was there.
I was going to say, I was here. I was actually here when the panhandle provision went into effect, that it was allowed. But I don't remember.
You were here?
Yeah,
You're not that old.
yeah, I am. Thank you, Terry. But I don't recall multiple houses off of that, but regardless. I know Art Spru, oh, were you done, Terry? I'm sorry.
Well, there is one plan here that shows one lot being serviced off of Kroll Road, and the other 2 lots are from the Panhandle, which, if that's the way you want to go, we've got the plan here for it.
I know Art had some items, if we want to hear from him before the rest of the board.
I have one question.
Oh, go right ahead.
See, if we went with the panhandle plan, let me call it that, just having one exit onto the road. Currently, the driveway is scoped at 12 feet wide. Is there any particular reason why it couldn't be wider?
Because it doesn't make a lot of sense to do that.
But there's nothing
Because what we're
topographically.
providing on Plan 01
Yeah,
is we're providing a width of the road at 16 feet wide, back to a point that I think was 43 feet back. If you think of it as parking spaces, we've got 4 parking spaces there. So 2 cars could be coming out, park there, while 2 cars come in and park there. Somebody moves out, somebody moves in. So that eliminates all of the issue with, having a highway going down through here for 3 lots. I just think aesthetically, it's going to look a lot nicer being 12 feet wide and having that nice opening that's going to allow for cars to stack if necessary, plus with your 9-foot sight distance, 9-foot wide sight distance
But, Mr. Eldridge,
The attorney has suggested we could make it 14 feet.
okay. May I call you Terry, Mr. Eldridge?
You can call him Terry, but don't call me Terry.
All right, no.
Yes, please. That's my name, so
But there's nothing topographically or from an engineering standpoint that would prevent the driveway from being wider than the 12 feet that's presented here, right?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. That was my question.
just aesthetics.
Art, did you want to go over your questions and comments?
Sure. You may have to let me know if my internet connection keeps interrupting, but I'll try my best. The cross-section to the driveway, I wasn't quite sure what the material was going to be. Could you provide Terry some information on that?
Let's look at the cross-section here.
Open fill here. You're referring to the type of pavement that's being proposed?
Yes.
Yes. Bituminous concrete, asphalt.
Okay. All right. Well, it'd be good if you had a detail of that cross-section on the plan, similar with the catch basin. If there is a preference on my part, I think it starts to get a little bit challenging when you're putting all these driveways onto a panhandle lot. I would typically want to see a T turnaround at the end associated with that. So I'm suggesting that we focus a little bit on alternative B, where one driveway would come into the panhandle drive, and the access drive up to that lot, that first lot that comes into the driveway would be 16 feet, and then 12 feet past that to the rear of the panhandle lot. And then we can avoid this whole issue of trying to get a T turnaround, because then you're just dealing with two lots, and the third lot would have direct access to the to Crowell Road. I think that would be a little bit cleaner. I think we have to take a look at cross easements on this. That means the lot which is connected to the panhandle would need to have an easement rights to travel over it. That would need to be part of this. The other thing I think that would be important to note, if we're going to have this panhandle, how are the utilities being serviced on these lots? Do we have separate utilities going to each of these lots, sewer, water, underground power, and communication? Or is there going to be a larger water main line up the panhandle and tees off of that for each of the lots? I think it would be important for us to understand that, and that be developed and shown on the approved plan. Those are generally my comments about this. We can certainly, if the other board members support those, we can add them in as conditions.
Terry, if you want to respond.
If I can remember everything. The last thing he said was,
Sewer
He was
and
talking about
the water line.
water line, the service.
Sewer, water and sewer,
We got sewer and water in the street. It
gas.
could, and gas, and it could be accessed from the street. That'd make the most sense. Alternatively, when it comes to the sewer in particular, because out in the middle of the road, maybe there would be a sewer main that would come up through this panhandle to provide a sewer connection for all three lots. But as far as the water is concerned, I believe it's in the grass between the pavement and the property.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a simple connection to go to that, so all three lots would have their own connection. As a matter of fact, Lot 23 has its connection right now because that's where the former building that was there connected, so we have both the water and sewer for that particular building. We don't have it for the future Lot 25 and 24. Another comment that was made had to do with turning Ts. I would suggest we have 3 turning Ys already. If you look at the plan, somebody can pull into a driveway, back up, and go. In 3 different instances. Obviously, the third one to the east, in the back of the property, nobody needs that one. It's only the owner that would use that. And that's something for them to back into and drive out. Additionally, the width of the driveways is going to be 21 feet. At 21 feet, when you come out to the intersection with the panhandle, with those roundings, they're 10-foot radiuses, so you'd actually have 30 feet at the edge of the pavement and 31 feet at the edge of the pavement and 21 feet back behind it. That's enough room for a parking lot. That is parallel parking. Somebody can just pull in there, parallel park, while somebody else drives in. It works. You don't need to have turning, we've got the turning Ts. Got 3 of them. So, and I think there's a third thing, but I can't remember what it was.
I can't either, to be honest with you.
Well, I think
Saying that to make you feel
one
better.
of the things that Art talked
There
about.
should be cross easements for each of these access points from
Yeah, no,
the
we
driveways
do that
to
as
the
part of
panhandle.
the real estate law stuff. We don't do that with the planning board.
There'll be an easement over the entire panhandle, which ends at about where the curve starts. It ends, you see the angles and the property lines where the panhandle ends there. And it's shown on the definitive plan. So that would be the panhandle, and the attorney will be drafting up a document that says that one of the other lots would have a benefit of an easement over the panhandle portion of the driveway coming in.
Yeah, you can't grant an easement to yourself, so we do the easement when we convey the lot to another entity,
Which is common practice.
as long as the lots are all in single ownership. I mean, you can't grant yourself an easement, so. But the other thought that Art had to do with having 2 driveway access, one with the lot on the south side having its own driveway. And, I mean, the only comment I would make to that is that, that's opposite what Mr. Fraley suggested in his comments, which is that having a single access off of Crowell Road, where there are already a lot of access points, makes more sense to him than having, 2 or 3. So it's just reducing the chances of conflict with traffic going by, which can be pretty busy these days. But, I mean, so that would be my suggestion. I think Mr. Fraley's concern is well-founded and is a good suggestion. And again, it's something we did many, many times, but that was a long time ago.
Catherine, do you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, I actually agree with what Art has said. And I did read Rob Faley's letter and considered the matter carefully. I think what our concern is it seems acceptable. This is not a private way. This is a driveway in a panhandle. And it's acceptable to have access to 2 separate lots off of that driveway, but to have access to 3 separate lots off of a driveway through a panhandle, I do think sets a precedent that we do not wish to set, and I think it is an
Madam Chair, if I could, nothing you do is a precedent. Each case that comes before you is decided on its own facts.
I would prefer to finish. Order.
You cut out there a little bit, Catherine, sorry. We thought you were
Sorry
done.
about that. So let me, no, I'm not done. So I think we're trying to find a balance here between avoiding too many entrances from Kroll Road and also overtaxing a driveway through a panhandle. I do agree that alternative B is the best alternative because it provides a compromise.
I mean, she's fading in and out, so I'm
Yeah,
missing part.
Catherine, I'm sorry, you are fading in and out.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
No?
lean in and shout, Catherine.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Anyway, I think we should go ahead. I agree with Art. I think alternative B is our best alternative with widening the driveway in the panhandle as Frank suggested. So why don't we leave it at that?
Frank, did you have anything else?
Now I'm done.
Thank you, Catherine.
Well, I'm struggling a little bit with the history and the law. The Panhandle, you were here.
I was
It
here.
put in. That's fantastic, so you could help. My understanding is that the Panhandle was put in to allow people to build on land that otherwise would be landlocked in the back, because it couldn't meet the frontage requirements.
Not necessarily. It was more because as the larger lots were dwindling, it was a matter of not being able to get frontage requirements
That's the
for
same
the
thing.
lots.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sort of.
Okay.
But,
So where I'm coming from is the purpose was to allow one building to be put back from the main drag and have an access for that one building. That was the purpose. It wasn't to create a vehicle for people to have common driveways. That wasn't part of the thinking at the time?
not that I recall, no.
Okay. So, however, I'm hearing that there is precedent where we've done that here. And it is ambiguous whether that would be permitted or not under the rules. So I think the precedent is important. What is the precedent? Have we allowed 2 or 3?
I believe,
We found one from 2006 that allowed 3. Up
3.
until then, we've been mostly 2, almost all 2. Well, I should say all 2.
Okay.
I haven't found anything any different.
Understand. So I guess where I'm coming out is, number one, I think it's preferable to have one entrance on the road, not 2 or 3. And that's where I would come out. I don't have any problem with a common driveway if it's wide enough. Although if the consensus of the board is to go with 2, I'm happy with that as well. But I think I would prefer just one entrance to the development, if you will. That's it.
Bob?
So the front 2 buildings are going to be commercial use?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Really,
You did say at one point one was going to be,
well, it's commercially zoned.
okay.
And so it was possible that these would be used for workforce housing. So that would be all residential.
Yeah.
And, so the developer really hasn't made up his mind. If they're gonna be used for residence, we have to get a special permit from the planning board, from the zoning board, to use them for residential, single-family residential. So at some point soon, they're gonna have to make up their mind how they wanna use them.
And if I might interject, if they were going to do commercial development, they'd leave it as one great big lot and just have one big building or multiple big buildings. You could have 2 of the buildings the size of the one that was there, running east-west, one on the south, one on the north, a big parking lot in between. It would make a great area for a commercial development. the client wants to do residential, at least that's what he's telling me, and thus, we have a plan before you showing residential buildings on a residential subdivision. It's all conceptual. It's just an idea so that he can look at it and say, yeah, I like that, and let's go with it. And, but I wouldn't worry about commercial at all because it doesn't make any sense. Because the site coverage goes up dramatically. I can't remember what it is offhand, but it,
60%.
60%. And right now, we're dealing with something that's, I don't have it on my thing here, it's less,
It's around there somewhere, but not much. But so our suggestion is
10%.
one driveway, 14 feet wide instead of 12 feet wide, the paved surface, 14 feet wide, past the first two houses, and then it can narrow down to 12 feet once it gets past the first two driveways. I don't think it's not a bad idea to have the sewer connections coming down the driveway. I don't know if, but I don't know if it makes economic sense because the two houses closer to the street, well, one's already got a stub. So you'd only be having two houses servicing off the Panhandle sewer-wise. But I think gas and water for the two new, the houses, the one further back and the one on the north side. Because again, there's a water line already servicing the area where the southernmost house is located, so. But, I think the developer really needs the flexibility to do the thing that's most economical for him.
Yeah, I could see a very different driveway structure for if they were commercial, but there's a couple of reasons why I'm with Frank. The first is one opening on that stretch makes more sense to me than having two. But the second is that the driveways are behind the properties. It's something we're trying to do in all our other planning in all our other areas, is to not put the driveways and the parking in front of the building. So this puts all of that behind the structures, which is another advantage, and it's going to turn out to be less asphalt across the whole area. So I think in the long run it would end up being a easier stormwater. My preference, unless somebody can tell me other, would be one driveway.
Warren?
My feeling is that the one driveway is certainly very preferable, but my formal opinion on it really depends a whole lot on whether there's going to be commercial development here or not. Once you have approved the Panhandle with 3 house driveways on it, that doesn't require that it be 3 houses. And if you have the single access that then ends up being developed commercially, then that's going to mean potentially you've got commercial access off of the Panhandle, which I'm not in.
If I might speak to that, anything commercial has to come back to this board.
Right.
So if that time, the Panhandle, as it's shown, if it does not provide for adequate access for commercial, we can change that.
Then I would say I endorse Frank's recommendation to widen the Panhandle driveway. That was of concern to me, although I was very much in favor of endorsing DPW's comments about a single access. I think in this particular case, I'm not concerned about precedent at all, because that particular road warrants as few additional curb breaks and entrance points as possible. It is so heavily traveled, so that would, precedent or not, in general, I would say in this case, I'm persuaded that it would, the benefits of having a single panhandle entrance, and albeit slightly wider, which is going to provide additional space for parking. It's also going to provide additional space to park, to pass. It's going to provide better access for emergency vehicles, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm very much in favor of 14 feet out to where it becomes a single drive, going to 12, as Councilor Riley had proposed. I'm in favor of a single break in the, not two, recognizing that to the extent this ever were to be proposed for commercial development, then my opinion would change.
One more.
Go ahead, Bob.
So regardless of whether it's two driveways or one, that long driveway scares me a little bit in the sense that I think people are who don't live there will see that as a place to park. And I think whatever you do, you're going to need to make it very clear that it is not public parking.
Are you suggesting a gated community?
No, I'm suggesting signs or.
Now, we have, well, there's a similar division on the other side of the dentist office, and that has not been a problem, even though we're directly across from Pan d'Avignon. So it hasn't been a problem there. Bob?
Honestly, I'm comfortable, sort of, with either one or two driveways. My question, if it were two driveways, the driveway shown on Lot 23 from Kroll Road, that's on the B alternative, B as in boy, seems awfully wide at the road. I mean, you're only really going to have one car passing there. Most driveways are not quite that,
I know, but
but there's no dimension there, so I'm not really sure what it
From the
is.
street to the garage is a very short distance, and to make the turn to go into the garage becomes awkward. Now the car is going at an angle to go into the garage. So no matter what, you've got to have the 20-foot in width in there in order to go directly into the garage with both cars.
No, I mean, we're at Kroll Road, where it meets Kroll Road.
Well, what happens is, if you've got such a small turning radius, you really need to have, the two driveways works out perfectly. If you have a single driveway, now you got to make a turn,
I think she's just
not enough room.
indicating, I think Charlene is just indicating that it could be narrower at the
yeah,
edge of pavement, and then it could widen out when you get to the garage.
yeah, we,
Rather than
Yes.
20 feet, we can make it 18 feet. Or I suppose
no,
16.
no, we want it to be 20 feet. If it's a real hang-up, well, in the first place, we
There's no,
prefer the
I'm
one.
just asking.
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
There's a definite reason for it, and that's so that each car can go straight into the garage. Otherwise, one goes straight, the other one makes a turn, backs up, makes a turn, backs up, and then finally gets into the garage.
Sounds like my
Longer
wife's
distance, it
driving.
would be an issue. And we can't move the house back any further because of
Setback.
setbacks.
In that case, I would prefer myself, the one driveway then, the one shared driveway.
Yeah, well,
In
the paved
looking,
surface at 14 feet.
as long as it's still, on the plan, A01,
Okay.
it does show 16 feet at the opening,
I'm going to leave it 16 feet at the opening,
and then taper down to 14
down to
feet.
14. You really need the 16 feet in order to have the cars coming in, the cars coming out. It works. You really don't need the 14 feet behind it because you've got 3 turnouts. You've got the ability to stop at the entrance.
No, you don't need the 16 feet behind it.
Pardon me?
We're going to do 14 feet. so
14, what'd I say?
16,
Oh, no, this is 16 in here.
yeah, but we don't need
Entrance.
16 behind that.
16 up to 43 feet back, and then it narrows down to, you want to make
14.
it 14.
14 feet.
It's one car. You haven't accomplished anything as far as passing vehicles, but you've got that with the turnouts, the driveways. They can just pull into it while another car goes by. It all works out well.
The attorney has indicated 14 feet.
Yeah, until you get by the second driveway.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. There were a number of recommended conditions that were in your staff report. I found out later today that I was actually chairing, so I scrambled to try and cover some
Yeah.
things.
I know there's something I forget.
Based on,
Okay, Terry forgot to bring his copy of the proposed conditions. Can we get a set? Oh, Annie to the rescue. Thank you very much, Anna.
yeah, my pages got messed up. Okay. Thank you, Annie. Obviously, it would be, referencing the proper plans. My first thought was based on the DPW director's comments, would be to condition that prior to endorsement require that the site triangle be added to the sign before endorsement.
And could I interject on that? Okay.
No. However, based on something that Terry provided, it actually makes a little bit more sense to me, rather than having the angles as he described. So what I would throw out there, and I wrote this down while he was talking, is that no plantings or fencing other than ground cover, because obviously you want something green, shall be allowed within 10 feet of the paved surface of Kroll Road.
Right.
So it would be 10 feet back from the pavement. All it can be is either grass or English ivy or something that's ground cover. I think there are existing trees there, and if there are, I would hate to see those come down.
But what about new trees?
On B, it shows the existing trees
Yeah.
with nothing getting violated. None of the trees, all those trees will remain. All
The
four.
problem with trees is until they grow,
Right,
you can't see through them.
right.
These are huge. They're specimen trees.
No, if there are existing trees, I would prefer that they stay, and we can say if there are existing trees that don't inhibit the sight line or something along those lines. But new trees take a while to grow. And obviously, these are deciduous trees, which is what we want. So that, I'm just throwing that out there. And, yep, and I think those should stay as long as they, and I can picture those trees. I've gone up and down that road many, many times, and I believe they're maple trees, if memory serves me.
Excuse me, but what I would say to the trees is that whatever plan or whatever option you end up deciding, make sure they're on that one plan, because they're not on all of the plans that we have.
And for whatever it's worth, all the branches on those trees are well above, seat height in the car, so.
And the other thing is that any property owner is going to want those trees there. So I don't see them being removed.
Nobody's talking about removing them, Terry.
Okay.
Okay. Second thing that I came up with is that lots 25 and 6 shall be merged via an approval not required plan. We need to eliminate
Can't
that
be
lot
done.
line.
It cannot be done. There are two different cases.
Land court.
Land court, yeah.
What we can,
Yeah.
I'll recommend to my client that they withdraw from the land court system. They recently changed the regulations where it used to be a major pain in the neck to withdraw property from
Once in land court, always in land court,
But
basically.
now they've changed it because they're so understaffed up at the land court, it takes months to get things done, or even years.
Are you going to run into a problem with setbacks with that line there, though?
No, because it'll be common ownership. But if we withdraw them, then we can merge them. And that would make sense. And besides, Mama needs a new pair of shoes, so.
Then I would pull that one back. My third one is, this subdivision, for the purposes of single-family residential use, shall require the necessary approvals from the Zoning Board of Appeals. You got to do that anyway. 4, the subdivider shall coordinate the provision of municipal water and sewer with the Chatham DPW director.
That doesn't have to be a condition, that goes without being said.
Madam Chair, there's, once you start setting out as conditions, just requirements that they do something else that they're required to do, like go to ZBA or historic or whatever, that really isn't a condition to our approval. That's simply something they need to do. And if we're concerned about them actually doing it, we could give them a separate letter. But one of the legal problems in setting out those things is that you might forget about something. And if you do, there's an argument that planning has said it's okay to go ahead without those. So I think the better practice, as I've seen it, is not to set out all the conditions that, are there anyway. But in terms of making certain that the applicant knows that they exist, give a separate letter setting those things out.
This would be in the statement of conditions.
That's right. I would take it out of the statement of conditions and put it in a separate letter. That's what I would do.
We don't do separate letters, so I'm just trying
I'm
to.
suggesting that actually what appears to be a change in process, where we not put into our approval a condition that they simply do something that they're required to do anyway.
If I could make a comment in agreement with Frank, and that is that we're gonna work with Dick Fraley on this stuff, and I don't think,
Well, that he's got nothing to do with zoning board, though, so.
I understand that, but you don't want a condition in here that requires something that he doesn't approve of. So we're gonna hook up the sewer, and we're gonna hook up water, and all those things, and we're gonna work with him to get it done. So I don't know why you need a condition for that.
Belt and suspenders. But
You think we-
it's entirely up to the board, not,
If I could, I
not,
understand, but in the first place, you could not get permission to put a septic system on this property. You could not get that because it's already served by sewer. The Board of Health wouldn't approve it.
Madam Chair, this came up in a seminar that I went to, not dealing with Massachusetts law at all. It was Connecticut land practice. But there are cases there where this has happened. That some people have put these conditions down, which they didn't have to do. And then they just forgot. And then some lawyer said, well, it wasn't a condition in planning, so therefore we didn't have to do it. And there was litigation over that. So there is a minor risk in just trying to set out everything else that they need to do that they're required to do anyway.
So there is a difference between the condition and us approving a site plan that doesn't have the sewer and everything in it, though. I mean, to Art's original request, where is that line? Doesn't that have to be on the plan?
if this was a subdivision with a road,
Oh,
all that would be shown on the plan.
yeah.
But this isn't. There is no road. It's a driveway. So therein lies my concern, because we're not approving a road here, that we want to be sure that we have in what I'm calling belt and suspenders. If the board members don't agree with that, that's fine. Art, what do you think?
I'm a belt and suspenders person along with you, Charlene.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Riley?
would you just say, sewage connections have to be done in compliance with, the town regulations.
Water connections?
Same thing with water connections. I mean, the DPW is gonna do whatever they want anyway, without regard to what's shown on the subdivision plan, because they never see the subdivision plan, other than the lines on the road.
Madam Chair, may I make a comment?
Yes, Catherine, go ahead.
So a couple of comments. I think I'm also a belt and suspenders person, as you and Art are. Secondly, in regards to Frank's comments about whether or not we as a board should include all these other things that the applicant needs to do as part of our conditions, if I could just, I think we never used to do that as a common practice of the board. I'm just talking about the practice, not whether it's right or wrong. I think we introduced that with the idea that in certain cases, the board felt uncomfortable giving approval to something that hadn't already received approval from another board for which approval was needed. We felt uncomfortable because it indicated that we were approving something that in some sense hadn't gone through its complete approval process. So I think that actually is valid. What I believe Frank is indicating that in Connecticut law, that was also interpreted as that if the planning board, for example, didn't mention that requirement in their conditions, the applicant would think it's not necessary. So then it sort of turns it upside down and says that we're responsible for listing everything that needs to be done, which clearly we are not. So, however, we do have this concern that we felt, or we sometimes feel uncomfortable giving our approval to a project that we know has other aspects that need to get approved, and then we include it as a condition. So I think that's where we're coming from, and I actually like that idea because we don't want to just give approval for something where we know there's a gap. And with regards to DPW's requirements, in previous instances in practice before the Chatham Planning Board, we've sometimes included conditions that we wanted all of DPW's requirements to be met as part of a subdivision approval from our side. And that's, again, just that we want to ensure that everything that DPW requires is done. It is in some sense out of our purview, but again, it's something that in certain cases we wanted to be sure was observed, and we did include it. So again, I just think it's addressing a concern of the planning board to do that. That's all I wanted to mention.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
we're going to accept whatever your recommendation is.
My recommendation keeps changing based on everything everybody's saying.
I know, but whatever it is, we're going to accept it.
So let me throw this out. Municipal water, sewer, utilities, and stormwater management shall comply with town regulations and requirements.
What about,
Did I miss anything?
Hence the problem. Did you miss anything?
Yeah, but if we missed
Well,
it-
Madam Chair, I would, without being an attorney and not having drafted anything, it would seem to me possible to say something general that I believe Councilor Riley already mentioned, that a condition could be that you comply with all existing town regulations including but not limited to the following, and you can add the ones that we know of, but it doesn't by any means exclude any that we didn't mention that might become relevant.
That would work.
Somebody word that for me.
I thought what you did was fine.
I have municipal water, sewer, utilities, and stormwater management shall comply with,
And any other. Including but not.
Including but not limited to.
Is what Warren put. I think that's good.
including, but not limited to. So including and not limited to municipal water, sewer, utilities, and stormwater management shall comply with town regulations and requirements. Okay,
Perfect.
all right, then we don't need this one. We don't need this one. I'm still leaving the zoning one in there.
Why are you doing that?
I don't know, because I
Okay,
want to. But if the board feels it doesn't need to be there,
Well, I think that's a very important issue here because they have not received approval for this from the zoning, from the zoning board of appeals.
for
And
residential use as single-family.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if that was denied, then this is not a valid submission. You see what I'm saying?
Mart, I would disagree. I think they have to go before the zoning board of appeals anyway, whatever we do, so.
Only if they're going to be doing it as single-family use, which is
That's
what
true.
they're pitching here.
Right.
Although they did mention some business.
But if they were to deny, the subdivision would be thrown away, and there'd be a massive commercial development going in.
Warren, did you have something?
Only that it potentially could be included, if appropriately worded, among the including but not limited to, you could say, ZBA approval.
Including but not limited to municipal
Compliance with
water,
zoning
sewer.
regulations
Or, you know,
or zoning bylaw.
All right, and zoning.
And building permits,
Will you stop it?
throw that out there, throw it all out.
that's the purpose of not limited, including but not limited to. You just have to obey the existing rules and regulations.
Okay, moving on. Any future or relocated dwellings or structures on lots 23, 24, 25 shall have downspouts and gutters connected to dry wells. Again, do we need that? Because
That's fine.
we'll leave that. All right. Prior to the issuance of any building permit for any of the lots shown on the subdivision plan, all bounds and/or monuments shall be set, and an as-built plan shall be prepared and submitted to the planning board. Because we're not going to have a covenant, we don't have a catch, but we need to ensure that bounds and monuments are set, because the covenant goes on a road. There is no road.
Right. I was just explaining that to Terry.
I probably learned that from you a very long time ago. A cross-section showing the construction of the driveway and detail of the infiltration catch basin shall be shown on the topographic plan prior to endorsement.
Yeah, that's fine.
At this point, I just want to take a step back to get a consensus from the board which plans we are moving forward with. Obviously, it's the subdivision plan itself. That's a given. I know that there are a couple board members who are preferable to Plan B, but it appears that there is the majority who is preferable with the O1 plan with slight modifications to it.
Yeah, if I'd like to add one thing. I didn't consider what Bob had said about the parking being less visible with the one entry. And I just wanted to emphasize that. I think that's consistent with where we're going as a board, so.
That's actually one of the things that moved me towards the one driveway as opposed to the two driveways. Art and Catherine? Do you have,
I think I can go along with what the majority of the board is doing in here. I didn't hear the condition where the driveway width would be 14 feet.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, all
That's
right,
why I
good.
pulled back first, just to get a consensus of the board.
Yeah, I can understand where that's going. If something comes along in the future and we see a lot more of these, we may have to put some more definitive criteria from a planning board perspective on this, because now all of a sudden, this is looking like it should be a roadway with a T turnaround. And I think that's something that we'll have to deal with down the road. This doesn't necessarily fall into that condition, but it's getting close to it.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
this is Catherine. I agree entirely with Art. I mean, I can go for the one driveway in this case, but I do think we need to be alert that we're not looking at things that actually should be private ways and should be roadways in the future. So.
Thank you, Catherine. I'm just trying to catch up with some of the conditions. I'm trying to figure out. I'm thinking of this before I write it down. On the topographic plan, the plan shall be revised to also include the existing street trees along Kroll Road and the width of the common driveway shall be increased to 14 feet rather than 12 feet.
Yeah, that'll,
Let me, hold on. Rather
that's
than
the-
12 feet,
no, it's the paved surface, not the panhandle itself.
D-
Panhandle's 20 feet wide.
now you messed up my thought.
If I may, wherever it's 12 should be now 14.
Right, but we need to, so on the topographic plan, prior to endorsement, the existing street trees along Kroll Road shall be shown. The existing pavement width of 12 feet shall be amended to 14 feet. The proposed. Are you writing this down? Because, yes. Okay, good, thank you. To the point just past the second driveway.
Right.
May I suggest you say the easterlymost driveway?
Yes. Well, actually, no. You
No,
don't want to
can't.
say that, because that's the back one. You want the middle one. So let's say the second driveway. Yeah.
Easterly driveway on lots 23 and
Oh,
25.
yeah, let's make it several pages longer while we explain it.
Okay, so
Language is perfect.
we're not changing that 16 feet, or we can?
I wasn't thinking of that, no. But in terms of defining where the 12 to 14 feet is, it should be, isn't it where the panhandle is, because we have a definition of where the panhandle is on one of these maps. No?
I don't think, it doesn't matter to us. We know what it means. So it's, whether it's where the panhandle is, but the problem is, it's sort of technically a panhandle the whole length. That's why Terry's suggestion of, or Charlene's, after the second driveway, just makes it really clear.
Are the driveways definitive? We're actually approving the position of the driveways?
So for the purposes of the width,
Yes.
it's got to be 14 feet to what is shown as the second driveway on this plan,
Okay.
just past that
whatever
point.
driveway.
Okay.
If they move that driveway somewhere else, it's still got to be 14 feet to that point. Okay. Why is it the small subdivisions are always the most confusing? So, access to lots 23, 24, and 25 shall be over a single curb cut on Kroll Road. The curb cut shall have a minimum width, actually, we don't need that anymore. Although, do we want to talk about the radius? Terry, what is the radius that you have where that
The radius, and I made 2 tangent lines that came out so that we don't have that huge curve that makes a real wide entrance that nobody uses, and the contractors generally don't build it. They always make it short. So now I've got a perfect width in here, and it's down to 43 feet wide at the street. It narrows back to 16 feet wide, and then down to 18 feet wide it'll be.
From a planning perspective, I concur with that. Art, from an engineering perspective,
Well, it's fine. This is, again, still considered a driveway, so I can see why this is being approached this way by the applicant and their consultant. So I think what Terry is saying will work in this situation.
yes.
Also, the contractor's gonna build it pretty much however he wants to, or she.
A lot of that curb cut will be dictated by the DPW. So if they want a slight adjustment here and there, if they want their curb cut, they're going to have to do what the DPW asks for. So if they're looking for a radius, they're going to have to put one in. If they show what they're proposing, that's fine. But if the DPW says you got to do something different, then that's part of the reasons why you put that condition in the way you did. I think that's within their purview. And if they want to do something different with the sewer and water, that's within their purview. That's fine. I like the condition the way it's set up.
So Art, you like the condition of access to lots 23, 24, and 25 shall be over a single curb cut on Kroll Road?
Yep.
Do we
And-
need
and
to
if,
further state these curb cuts shall have a minimum width of blank, or is that on that's actually on the plan itself?
Yeah, we usually do want to see a specific, radius and things like that. But that's mostly for a roadway access.
Right.
And that this is a driveway, so I think that what Terry has proposed, and I think he showed in one of his plans, would
Okay.
work in this situation, provided that he gets an approved sign off from the DPW.
Right.
So.
Further on that one I just read, and I don't know if this is something the board would want included in that. In the event of commercial development of any of the lots, the planning board may modify this condition if said modification provides for a better development.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go through these really quick. All right, gentlemen and lady? No plan,
Madam Vice Chair, I have a question.
yes,
Can you hear me?
yes.
So this last condition you just read implies that we're saying the subdivision as we are approving it with this access along the Panhandle driveway still is approved if this subdivision is developed commercially. But it's my understanding that we don't, that's not what we think. That we're approving this for residential development, which is why we're including that condition about going to ZBA.
But if
We
ZBA
are
votes
understanding-
no, and they
And it
decide
goes
to
to
stay with
commercial
this
development.
subdivision,
Do we approve access to all the commercial lots by one Panhandle driveway? I'm going to predict we don't.
Oh,
I'm going
if
to
the- in the
predict we
first
may
place-
not.
Oh, in the first place,
No,
know,
Mr. Varley,
wait.
I,
she's not done.
yeah, I'd rather hear from our chair and vice chair and our planner in response to this question.
Can I make a suggestion that you read it again, because I think it does do what you said?
Access to lots 23, 24, and 25 shall be over a single curb cut on Kroll Road. Period.
No, then,
And then a new condition, in the event of commercial development of any of the lots, the planning board may modify this condition if said modification provides for better development.
May modify, but
I think
I
that
mean,
this
it
one
gives us-
will need to be here because we've heard all different options of what's going to be here, right? It was initially coming to you tonight as a residential, development. Now they're saying maybe it's going to be commercial, but we
we're-
don't know.
We're not saying that.
Right.
You guys are saying that.
No, well, Terry brought up commercial first. We did not bring up
I said
commercial.
if it went commercial, all the lot lines would disappear, and they would put massive buildings up, because they could. It's 60% coverage as being in the GB3 zone.
So I think this condition is just covering in case it becomes a mix of residential and commercial.
But any
change-
commercial site is going to require a site plan.
Right.
Can
So
you
do you
change-
want, do we want the rest of that sentence, that
change
second
the
sentence
may
to be
to
removed?
will?
Yeah,
we'll
I
do
just don't think it's necessary, but
I-
whatever you guys want to do, we're going to agree to.
may I have a question?
Go ahead,
This is
Catherine.
Catherine, may I?
Yes, go
Yeah.
ahead.
What I'm asking the board and asking our chair and vice chair, are we approving the subdivision as it stands now, as it looks with the lot divisions and the one driveway off of the Panhandle, et cetera? Is that approval applicable only to residential development?
No,
Or are we potentially approving that same configuration also for commercial development?
yes.
Or is it null and void? Is our approval of this subdivision null and void if the development is commercial rather than single-family
No,
residential?
it's not.
It's not, it's black letter law in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that a planning board decision, the planning board has no control over the zoning aspects of a property. If it's determined that the plan is presented, complies with their regulations. I mean, but put in whatever you want, because
Mr.
we're not
Riley,
going to go
that's actually
commercial
not
anyway.
my question.
One at a time, please.
Yeah,
So Catherine,
that's not.
we're not approving
Yes,
this.
that's a-
We're approving this as a division of land, regardless of whether it's residential or commercial.
So I don't approve this for commercial, I don't approve this layout for commercial development. I don't think the access is adequate. I'm just going to say that. So I don't know how.
I think that's an important point here. If we don't have any say-so over this, then there's no way that this would be sufficient for any commercial development, which we don't even know what that commercial development is. So if this isn't residential, this is a no-go as far as I can see.
I agree. I agree. That would be my position as well.
Shall. If you change the may to a shall or a will, then I think
Yeah.
It's gonna
seems to
do
me
what you-
We've covered that.
In the event of commercial development of any of the lots, the planning board shall modify this condition if said modification provides for a better development.
Why don't we say,
That's fine.
I don't think that's strong enough. I think we need to say the subdivision is approved for single-family residential development, and if it's developed commercially, it has to come back for another subdivision
Catherine, I
approval.
don't think you can't legally do that, right? We can't determine,
Okay.
the ZBA will make that determination on whether or not they allow the residential or
I'm not talking about
not.
whether it's allowed.
And then the applicant would come forward, but we can't stop the division of this piece of property. This is a definitive subdivision before you.
I think they made it pretty clear
Then
that
I-
it's to their advantage if it's commercial to not do this, so I'm not too worried.
Yeah, I mean, changing to shall is perfect. We agree. And I don't think you need any more than that, with all due respect to Catherine's concerns.
Madam Chair, could you read that again, that phrase?
In the event of commercial development of any of the lots, the planning board shall modify this condition if said modification provides for a better development.
Can we add the words in or in its sole discretion or something? I mean, it sounds like we're creating a standard there that would, we'd have to meet before we
At the
could
time
make
of
a
site plan
change,
review.
right?
Yeah, but we don't care, because it's going to be developed residentially. This division plan is going to be developed residentially. If for some reason it ends up being commercial, they're going to do an 81X plan, so it's all a single lot again, and they'll just, put up
Massive.
commercial development. I mean, in other words, I don't know how else to say it. We have no interest in commercial development with this division of property. So,
Well, that's kind of exactly what I'm saying. This division of property is not, amenable to commercial development.
yeah, I know, but
That's what
the
I'm-
planning board
exactly what I'm saying.
doesn't have the authority to say that. The language that the chairperson has suggested, I think, is sufficient to protect that concern.
Okay.
So substituting the word shall, which does make it stronger.
Yeah. And I think that Christine was right in saying that they would have to come before us for site plan review for whether it's 1, 2, or 3 of these was a commercial site. So we could put
Okay.
whatever other criteria we want into the mix to satisfy, depending on the use and whatever they're proposing.
Okay.
And so while I said that there'd be no commercial development, what happens if somebody buys a house in there, happens to be a lawyer, that says, I'd like to put my office in there?
Because that's what the world needs. is
Home
more
occupation.
A
lawyer.
lawyer. Something like that, it's one man, one woman operation, and, they'll see a car every other day.
Oh, no, it's,
Okay,
only joke.
so do you want me to run through these slowly? Okay. Number 1. No plantings or fencing other than ground cover shall be allowed within 10 feet of the paved surface of Kroll Road. The existing street trees may remain. Number 2, any future or relocated dwellings or structures on lots 23, 24, and 25 shall have downspouts and gutters connection to dry wells. Number 3, access to lots 23, 24, and 25 shall be over a single curb cut on Kroll Road. Number 4, in the event of commercial development of any of the lots, the planning board shall modify the condition if said modification provides for better development. Number 5, including but not limited to municipal water, sewer, utilities, and stormwater management, and protective zoning bylaw shall comply with town regulations and requirements. Number 6, prior to the issuance of a building permit for any of the lots shown on the subdivision plan, all bounds and/or monuments shall be set, and an as-built plan shall be prepared and submitted to the planning board. Number 7, a cross-section showing the construction of the driveway and a detail of the infiltrating catch basin shall be shown on the topographic plan prior to endorsement. And number 8 is the one you wrote down for me. That was getting so confusing. I believe.
The one that I wrote down to you?
No, I think that's it, actually. Bear with us a second.
Madam Chair, I did not hear in any of those.
Bear with us a second, please, just,
Because the one you were having the most trouble with was the utilities.
okay. Warren,
I did not hear in there the required width of the Panhandle Drive
thank you very much.
and the extent of it, or the length of it.
Well, that would be in that last one you just read, right?
Yes, so, condition 7, a cross-section showing the construction of the driveway, a detail of the infiltrating catch basin, and the width of the paved area shown as 12 feet shall increase to 14 feet to the easterly boundary of the second driveway. Shall be shown on the topographic plan prior to endorsement.
We decided we didn't have to say about the ZBA because, right.
We added the ZBA to the including but not limited to. And I'll give you this. Is everybody good with those
Madam
8
Chair,
conditions, 7 conditions?
what about the condition where planning board shall, if we do something commercial, the planning board shall do what? That's not in there, right?
No, that was in there. In the event of, that's number 4, in the event of a commercial development in any of the
Right.
lots. Yes, that was there.
Right, great.
Okay, so I just want to make sure we have, so those are the 7 conditions.
And the applicant has no objection to them.
Good. I'm not sure I would care at this point if you did.
I'm getting to the point of not caring either. That's,
So based on all of that, I would entertain a motion to approve the lotting plan for definitive plan of land. Oh, back up. Is there any public comment on this, as this is a public hearing? Do I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
So move.
Second.
And we will take a vote on that. Frank,
Approve.
Bob,
Approve.
Warren,
Approve.
Arthur,
Approve.
Catherine.
Approve.
And I approve. Now, I would entertain a motion to approve the lotting plan for a definitive plan of land in Chatham, Mass, as prepared for Chatham Max Holdings LLC, prepared by Bracken Engineering, Inc., revision dated June 30, 2025, with revisions through 10/9/25 and October 30, 2025. Nope, take that back, not that one. And October 9th, 2025. And a topographic plan showing conceptual development, plan and profile dated 07/14/2025 and revised 9/30/2025, and revision date of October 30, 2025, with the conditions as previously stated.
So moved.
Right, but we still have to reference, yes, exactly.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
We will do a roll call. Frank?
Approve.
Bob?
Approve.
Warren?
Approve.
Arthur?
Approve.
Catherine?
Approve.
And Charlene, I approve. Okay. I think we're good on this one.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for your patience and our patience.
Oh, Jamie Norcross asked me to give you a report regarding Pan d'Avignon.
We did receive a letter requesting a continuance.
Right, and he asked me to update that because he was notified today that the draft plan has finally been completed, and so we expect to be back before you fairly shortly.
So we have a continuation agreement of this to December 1st.
So our next meeting is November 24th. The next meeting is November 24th.
Is that amenable to you?
We don't have an application, we don't have the rest of the package yet, but if we get the material,
We would need that ASAP.
I think we'd better stick with the December date.
so then we need a timeline extension, because, yeah, okay,
Send it to Jamie, and he'll sign and get it right back to you.
okay, fabulous.
So the motion would be to approve an extension for action by the planning board to,
So I would say till December 31st, just to give us time to
Right.
do all of the thing, but the meeting in December would be December 8th.
and to continue this hearing to December 8th. For
Perfect.
this matter, to
Yeah,
December 8th.
just- I mean, the engineer's been so slow up till now. I'd hate to pick a date that was too early and then have to request another continuance, so December 8th should be fine.
So an agreement to extend the time in which the board has to act until the 31st of December, but to continue this matter to December 8th, no earlier than 5 PM.
So move.
Second.
Bob?
Approve.
Frank?
Approve.
Bob?
Approve.
Warren?
Approve.
Arthur?
Approve.
Catherine?
Approve.
And I approve.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And to all us veterans, have a happy Veterans Day.
And thank you for your service, sir, and to everyone who has served or are continuing to serve. I don't see that we have anything else on our agenda. The next meeting is the 24th.
Yes, the next meeting is the 24th. It's the week of Thanksgiving, that Monday.
I will be remote.
I will be remote.
Okay, so.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Well, question.
Discussion, yes.
If this was postponed until the 8th, is there anything on the agenda for the 24th? And do we even cancel that meeting?
we could potentially cancel that meeting. We did have something else that came in, but that came in after the deadline, so we were planning to do that for December 8th anyway, so do you want to cancel the meeting on the 24th?
Absolutely.
It would be my recommendation that unless
Approve.
something comes in that needs the board's attention,
Right.
that we cancel that meeting.
I gotta go.
I move that.
You don't need to move that.
Oh.
There's already a motion and second on the table.
All right.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of adjourning, Bob,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Warren,
Yes.
Art,
Yes.
Catherine.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. It is 6:37, and thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.